All right, what's up, YouTube friends? How's everybody doing? Hope you're all hanging in there, doing well. I know shit's a little crazy out here, um, but we still got to talk about the shit that matters. So, what we're going to talk about here is something I think that most people would benefit from. It's a real serious question. A lot of people don't know the answer to, and that is, where is the place where man goes to meet God? Okay, because we know that we don't walk down the street on Sunday and go in a building and put money into a bowl and then meet God that way. That ain't how that works. So we're gonna look through. We're gonna read some Bible verses and call on the prophets, and we're gonna figure out where to go to meet God face to face. As Jacob said, the land of Peniel. He met God face to face. Ready? Okay. So starting with the Bible verses, we have Daniel 1:17. To these four young men, God gave knowledge and understanding of all kinds of literature and learning. And Daniel could understand visions and dreams of all kinds. The reason this is relevant is because God gave knowledge and understanding. Sometime we'll hopefully we'll be able to dig into what it is that understands within a person, not in like the legal person as in human or corporation. Never mind. So we're going to move to the book of Matthew, chapter 2. And there's two verses in there, 13 and 19, and both of them relate to the place where man meets God. So, verse 13. When they had gone, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream. Get up, he said, take the child and his mother and escape to Egypt. Stay there until I tell you, for Herod is going to search for the child to kill him. Now, another thing, not only does this tell us where man meets God, how to directly receive instructions from God, how to speak with an angel, whatever, in a dream, but this verse also relates, it parallels a verse in Genesis and a verse in Revelation. And the Genesis is another thing I'm not sure a lot of people want to talk about. But the verse in Revelation is the woman carrying child flees into the wilderness and the serpent pursues them. It's the same story. Different level of understanding. All right, so, and then we jump to verse 19. After Herod had died, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph again and said, hey, he's dead, you're cool. Now we jump to the book of Acts, chapter 2, verse 17. In the last days, God says, and sorry, before I read this, so what happens here is cause and effect, okay? And we'll get into that. So Acts chapter 2, verse 17. In the last days, God says, I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions. Your old men will dream dreams. Okay? And so the effect, the thing that happens is sons and daughters prophesy, young men see visions, old men dream dreams. Okay? The cause of the visions, the prophecy, and the dreams, all three of which are the same thing and have the same cause, the Spirit of God. And so, I'll repeat. God says, I will pour out my Spirit on all people. And because he does that, your sons and daughters will prophesy, your young men will see visions, and your old men will dream dreams. That's deep stuff. Numbers, the book of Numbers, chapter 12, verse 6. God said, "Listen to my words. Where there is a prophet among you, I, the Lord, reveal myself to them in visions. I speak to them in dreams." So, just to make this as clear as possible, where is the place that God speaks to people? I speak to them in dreams. All right, so that being said, we're going to jump all the way to the beginning, and we're going to hit a couple verses in Job. So Job 33, chapter 33, verses 14 through 18. For God does speak one way, now another, different ways, though no one perceives it. No one seems to pay attention. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls on people as they slumber in their beds, he may speak in their ears and terrify them with warnings, to turn them from wrongdoing and keep them from pride, which for some reason is something that people celebrate now. I'm not sure when people forgot pride and fall and Lucifer and stuff, but somehow maybe they didn't forget. They know that, and that's probably exactly why they're doing it. But anyway, to preserve them from the pit, their lives from perishing by the sword. Now, what I want to do, just as I did before, show cause and effect. This is a little different though. Verse 15 is structured in a way that's repetitive, okay? It says something and then says it again using different words. And it's right at the beginning. It says, in a dream, a vision of the night. That's it. Dream, vision, okay? Same thing. Prophesy, dream, vision. Those are all three the same thing. Rather, you get prophecy from dreams, but they all tie in together. All right, so Numbers 12:6. I, the Lord, reveal myself to them in visions. Vision is a dream. That's the verse that best conveys my point. God meets men in dreams. He communicates other ways as well, but direct communication comes through dreams. Don't let the world around you influence your thought and fill the camp with filth, because when he comes to your camp, if it's dirty, he will turn around and leave. I should have got that verse and put it in here, but I didn't. It's one of Paul's books. All right, so another point that should be made here is Jacob gave an account of meeting God face to face. Okay, he said he laid down, rested his head on a rock. I'm sure it said stone, because rock is worldly, stone is natural. Anyway, he laid his head down and he fell asleep, and he had a vision, a dream. And in this dream, he wrestled an angel, and the angel said, "Congratulations, you just wrestled God." And so Jacob goes on to say, "I met God in the land of Peniel." No fucking joke. The fact that the Bible itself, in the Old Testament, in the story of Jacob, says, "I climbed the ladder, wrestled God, I wrestled an angel, met God face to face," is fucking surreal. Sorry for cussing, but it's surreal how it says that so clearly, and yet people don't understand. Peniel, seriously? The one eye? Let thine eye be single? Anyway, let me move on here. So the key is, right, your camp has to be clean. Your mind has to be clean. Otherwise, God won't stop there. Uh, you can't let the world penetrate the temple. Keep your mind clear. So, God speaks to all men who are willing to listen. The important thing to note about this discussion is that things like dreams and prophets and visions and prophecy, prophets seeing, there won't be a point where you can open a textbook or go find a scientist and say, hey, what's a dream? And they just tell you what it is as if it were an apple or a rubber ball. It'll never happen. Anyway, so here's what's strange to me about a dream. You dream when the body is relaxed and gone, and the conscious itself is off. When the conscious is off and the body is off, there is still something within you that is on. And this is what I'm talking about when I say there's a higher mind and a lower mind, and the conscious or the ego and the body is the lower mind, and the spirit and the heart, the subconscious, are the higher mind. When the lower is gone, the higher, the spirit and the subconscious, those remain. Those don't get turned off ever. Like literally, it's crazy to think about. You basically just die for 8 hours a day. Or if you're me, 4. If you're lucky, 4. I don't sleep a lot. But anyway, during sleep, your body is like literally gone. And you're totally unconscious. But you still have these visions of only God knows what you personally may dream about. The ego's gone, the conscious is gone, the body's gone, and yet there's still something there that's able to see and hear and smell and taste and touch, and there's still something alive when everything else is dead. And so, I don't know why people aren't fascinated by this, but the strange thing is that even though the body seems to be gone and the ego is, the conscious is off, you're still able to affect the body while it's asleep. You can throw punches while you're asleep. Have you ever like tried to throw a punch in your sleep and it's like you just can't do it? Another time. So this is because the ego is the mind of this world. The conscious mind is part of this world. And it goes with the body. Okay? And then there's something underneath of those. If you, I won't even do that. But there's something underneath of those two. And that is the spirit and the subconscious, which is the heart. The things that you hold in your heart are the things that you dream about. God knows the heart. God's laws are written on the heart. It's all self-fulfilling, so to speak. Hold on. All right, so this mind is able to, the same way that it dreams while you're asleep, it can dream while you're not asleep. And this is what supposed to be what meditation was about. It's about you relax all the muscles in the body, totally relaxed, and you don't think about anything. You relax your mind, relax your body, and you'll enter into this sleep state. That's basically what it is a sleep state. It's not REM sleep where you're like out like a brick, whatever. Um, but that's the point of meditation, was to enter the sleep state and totally relax. Uh, Not only to converse with God, but it's good for the body. It You let go of the stress and the anxiety and all that stuff that drags you down into the pit. You let all that go and you just relax. But when you do the meditation and you just relax your mind and body and you enter this sleep state, that's going to the prayer closet. Uh, it's the Holy of Holies, the prayer closet, all that shit. It's when the mind shuts up and the heart is what's left. The Holy of Holies. So, these two minds, right? You got the higher and the lower, the conscious and the subconscious, the brain and the heart, the male and the female, Adam and Eve, whatever the hell you want to call it. The first man and the second, Jacob and Esau. Man, it's been too long. Anyway, these two minds, the mind that only thinks of survival for the body and runs from death, and the mind that is faithful unto death and has overcome the world, are two separate entities. Two separate entities. Their natures are different. They both exist within every man, and both offer instruction, so to speak. When the ego is killed, or at very least mastered, you have conquered the world. The ego is the mind, the conscious is the mind of the world. To master the conscious is just to eliminate all impure thoughts. If you can control what comes into your conscious and your awareness, you have become the master of your world. And that is how you conquer the flesh, the mind of the flesh. This is your instructions as stated clearly in the book. Okay. Right. So when you master the conscious, you will dream these dreams. You will converse with God directly. But also, as it says in the book, there are two masters. You can't serve both. You can serve this world or what remains when this world goes bye-bye. So, dreams are really fascinating. The mind, the conscious, isn't thinking, obviously, because you're asleep, but it's still able to visualize things. It's really fascinating to study if you really want to. So, let me tell you about this, right? I have a few things that I regret from a long time ago. The main one is when I was in 6th grade, I was introduced to psychology. And part of this introduction was an introduction to the only two psychoanalysts that actually have studied dreams. And the way that this was presented to me was as if Sigmund Freud was right and Carl Jung was some fucking lunatic who, whatever. And this happens every time. Nikola Tesla comes along and the world puts the spotlight on Thomas Edison. Malcolm X comes along and the world puts the spotlight on Martin Luther King. Lennox Lewis comes along and the world looks at Mike Tyson. It always happens, every time. But because of the way the information was presented, I started studying the works of Sigmund Freud, and I neglected the works of Carl Jung. And now I'm 31 now, um, and I just try to imagine sometimes how much further I would be along if I had actually started studying Carl Jung instead of Sigmund Freud's propaganda. Everybody's gay, wants to kill their father, marry their mother. Bro, that's so stupid. That's so stupid. Anyway, but Carl Jung wrote the book. I'm sorry. Carl Jung wrote many books, and I highly recommend them. But Sigmund Freud wrote a book, The Interpretation of Dreams. I'd recommend reading it. It's decent. It is Sigmund Freud though, so take it with a grain of salt. I wouldn't fully invest in it, but it really is a good book. And as I said, there's only two people. There's no one you can go to that can give you the information. So the thing about a spiritual awakening and a spiritual revelation and whatever, those things only happen within an individual. The reason that I make videos is because I have these things happen to me. And like literally, that's why I do this. That's why so much shit makes sense to me now. Because I've had these spiritual revelations. And there's nothing better. There's nothing better than gaining true understanding from things within yourself. And I guess that's kind of why I do this, because I want other people to have that experience too. So those are the only two people that have actually done any work on dreams, is Jung and Freud, whose name is oddly close to fraud. But okay, so part of this video is to lay some groundwork for my next video, which will be about the spiritual forces or entities that I mentioned before, that operate unseen, and they act as, it's essentially as a force. They act on mankind, both of these entities, which is more closely aligned with love and fear, and basing your decisions on these things. Love is alive, and it's conscious, and it will take over you. Fear is dead, and it's not alive, and it's not something that could be called an entity. It's just a nothing. Anyway, sorry. And so, sorry, I lost my spot. In the next video, that's what I wanted to discuss, was the people being affected by this force and the resistance to this force, rebellion against God, essentially. And also, I wanted to discuss Carl Jung, because he was something else. He intentionally drove himself mad. He dove into these wild and crazy dreams, but also let his ego run rampant. It's said that he slept with a pistol under his pillow in case the dreams got too bad. But the dreams come from the place that is not bound by the physical. The pistol, had he actually needed it, would have only landed him face to face with the object of his torment. He dove into the labyrinth. He found and he encountered the Minotaur, the half man, half beast, and he stayed around there and was hanging out with the Minotaur, trying to understand it. So let's finish this up. Just a little discussion about dreams. let's finish this up with, let's turn to those people who would say the Word is God. It's such a profound statement. They say, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word is God. The Word was with God, and the Word is God. Who is it? Who were these people that would say such a thing? The Word is God. Not a scientist. Nope. Not an architect. A mason. Not a politician. The state would be their God. Only an artist. Specifically, a poet. A poet is the one that wrote the Bible. It's all poetry. Poetry is all art is an expression of love, an expression of the Spirit. But to a poet, the Word is God. And using poetry, they communicate with God. Whether it's a hymn, a song, or it's a psalm, the same thing. It is an attempt to convey to people who can't understand the message. People will read the words of these poets, like the Bible is literally the perfect example. They will read that and they will think that it's talking about the fucking world. Sometimes these poets describe their spiritual experiences that only happen within them. An attempt to convey it to people who cannot understand these messages. They don't know there's anything in there. They think all life is outside of them, when the truth is, the only life is within them. Everything outside is dead. Dead. D-E-D. Dead. The poets have always explained, as best they could, these strange phenomenon that happen within us. These events, these miracles and spiritual revelations, they always happen inside and never outside of the mind of man. There has never been a spiritual experience or revelation that happened in the world. Never. They always happen in the mind, in the heart. Knowing this, and assuming you'll take my word for it, that the poets knew this as well, what do they say then? What do these poets who spoke with God and tried to convey these messages to the average person who couldn't understand, what do they say about dreams? I think you'll be surprised. So we start off with a famous poet, Edgar Allan Poe, in a poem titled "A Dream Within a Dream." It's a mind within a mind, a vision within a vision, prophecy within visions and prophecy. The poem says, "Take a kiss upon the brow," a metaphor for a sweet dream, no doubt. Take a kiss upon the brow, and in parting from you now, this much let me avow: you are not wrong who deem that my days have been a dream. Yet, if hope has flown away in a night, or in a day, in a vision, or in none, is it therefore the less gone? All that we see or seem, oh shit, hold on, I lost my spot. Okay, all that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. I stand amid the roar of a surf-tormented shore, and I hold within my hand grains of golden sand. How few Yet how they creep through my fingers to the deep. While I weep, while I weep. O God, can I not grasp them with a tighter clasp? O God, can I not save one from the pitiless wave? Is it all that we see or seem but a dream within a dream? Sorry, I probably could have read that better. So a lesser known but more direct poem is called I Dreamed a Dream by Walt Whitman. And this poem goes, I dreamed in a dream I saw a city invincible to the attacks of the whole of the rest of the earth. I dreamt, whatever, that was the new city of friends. Nothing was greater there than the quality of robust love. It led the rest. It was seen every hour in the actions of men of that city, and in all their looks and words. I dreamt of a city invincible to the rest of the earth, a city of friends where nothing was greater than the quality of love. Do we need to discuss this? I'm pretty sure that everybody already understands what's being said here, but let me cover it real quick. The city that he's dreaming of is heaven, the place, the land of pineal, the place that flesh cannot enter, the ego, the conscious cannot enter. It cannot be harmed by the physical world unless we allow this world to penetrate our minds and affect the Holy of Holies. Nothing was greater there than the quality of love. 1 John chapter 4, verse 16. God is love, and all who live in love live in God, and God lives in him. Furthermore, it was seen every hour in the actions of men in that city, and in all their looks and words. This is just speaking to the authenticity of that love. And so, one more from Edgar Allan Poe, and this is titled simply Dreams. I did add another one after this, so just bear with me. Okay, Edgar Allan Poe, Dreams. Oh, that my young life were a lasting dream, my spirit not awakening till the beam of an eternity should bring the morrow. Yes, though, that long dream were of hopeless sorrow. 'Twere better than the cold reality of waking life to him whose heart must be and hath been still upon the lovely earth, a chaos of deep passion from his birth. But it should be that dream eternally continuing, as dreams have been to me in my young boyhood. Should it thus be given, this old English shit's crazy. 'Twere folly still to hope for higher heaven. For I have reveled when the sun was bright in the summer sky, in dreams of living light and loveliness. Okay, this goes on, but it's old English. You know how this shit's wrote. I'll just read the last sentence here. I have been happy, and I love the theme, dreams, in their vivid coloring of life, as in that fleeting, shadowy, misty strife of semblance with reality, which brings to the delirious eye more lovely things of paradise and love. The young hope in the sunniest hour hath known. Okay, so I'm sorry, I totally butchered that. Anyway, even though I did a pretty poor job reading those poems, it's pretty clear that these are spiritual in nature. We're talking about speaking to God directly, as Edgar Allan Poe did. We're talking about dreaming of a city of love, the same thing that Jacob did. Um, so, we should not continue to ignore the spiritual nature of these poems and these poets and their mental adventures across the plane to the realm of the unseen. As Walt Whitman said, a city of friends full of love, impervious to the spiritual attacks of this world. These poets have always dreamed to find God. In the Bible, the stories are dream to find God. God said, I come to you in dreams. Angels went to Joseph in dreams. It's all about dreams. So, real artists, okay? There's definitely a difference between real artists and corporate artists. This shit that we call rap today, hip hop, is those ain't artists. If you want artists, that's like KRS-One, NF. There's a bunch of them. Eminem is not an artist. He's not an artist. It's called felon talk. That's what Eminem does. Felon talk. That's not art. Songwriters. I'm sorry. Real artists who, we'll just leave it at that. Real artists enter this dream state to find their art. And there's many accounts of these artists saying that. It came to me in a dream. Or artists see the image in a dream and they paint it. Or a writer sees the story in a dream and they write it. And this is evident not only from the artist telling us that, but by looking at the art itself. If you ever look at something and you say, how did someone come up with that? There's a pretty good chance that this is how. Not always, obviously, but one final example. This is a poem, but it's a poem that's put over a beat, aka a song. Everyone knows it, okay? It's Simon and Garfunkel. Everyone knows the song and they heard it, but they never hear it. They never hear what the Spirit says to the churches. They never hear it. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. Meditate. Because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping. And the vision that was planted in my brain still remains. Within the sound of silence. In restless dreams, I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone. Near the halo of a street lamp, I turned my collar to the cold and damp. When my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And that's the name of the song, The Sound of Silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more, people talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people writing songs that voices never shared, and no one dared disturb the sound of silence. Fools, said I, you do not know, silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words that I might teach you, take my arms that I might reach you. But my words, like silent raindrops, fell and echoed in the wells of silence. And the people bowed and prayed to the neon gods they made, and the sign fleshed out its warning in the words that it was forming. Then the sign said, the words of the prophets are written on the subway walls and tenement halls, and whispered in the sound of silence. So I encourage you all, everyone, everywhere, to seek out these artists. And there's a lot of songs, a lot of them. Not, like I said, not the rappers that we have today, but like real artists, and hear the actual message. Hear what the Spirit says to the church. The Spirit is love, and the Spirit is God. There's one Spirit, it's God inside of you. The Spirit animates the flesh. Hear what the Spirit says to the church. You are the church. Hear what the inner man says to the outer man. And so we have to ask. I think we've already answered it. But what is this city that all these people have made it to on this mental, psychological, spiritual plane? I think we know. I think we know what it is. The golden city of love. So I've listed a few examples here of these poets and what they say about dreams, and talked quite a bit about dreams, but haven't even got remotely close to the full message. If you know of the song Windmills, Windmills is, I don't really like the song, but the video to the song, that's still art. It's still an expression of the inner man trying to say something to the outer man. But they'll never get it, because the light the inner man shines on tries to explain to the darkness, the outer man. But the outer man comprehends it not. You could tell them directly, just as I do. I try to say this shit as directly as possible, and they still don't get it. They hear something totally different than what I'm saying, and that's called speaking in tongues. You want to speak the same language as somebody and use simple, clear words to explain what you're saying, but they just don't get it. That's what I struggle with. Seriously though, art is a key to understanding, because it's an expression of the Spirit within man. It's definitely something that everyone should look at and study and try to understand. This has always been one of the messages delivered by the prophets. The artists, same thing. And this message is present in sculpture, is in statues. It's present in architecture, media, literature, and physical reality itself. You have to kick out the fear out of your heart first, and then begin to see everything through the lens of love. There's nothing trying to get you except you. Anyway, row your boat. Life is but a dream within a dream. That's it. So, brand new iPad. I still can't pull up Google Documents or whatever the hell it's called, or even a notepad on the side of the camera. I'm not sure how I can't do that on a brand new iPad, but I can do it on a 3-year-old Chromebook. Whatever, I guess that's another discussion altogether. I got some other things I've been working on, but I also have a lot of work that I had to take care of. So, in closing, on my daughter's birthday, I took her to get her ears pierced, which I was totally against, but my wife made me do it. Whatever. I did. I was fixing some stuff on this van, right? I bought this minivan that I'm in. I bought it from my neighbor for $500. I didn't think she would actually do it, but she did it, so I gave it to her. So I was fixing some stuff and cleaning some stuff under the hood. And when I closed the hood, I didn't latch it. So when I got on the expressway, speeding as I do, the hood flew up and crushed my whole front windshield. It was something else. So I'm actually like not able to get out and do the things that I need to do until this window gets here. So it'll probably be like 10 days. So hopefully I can get back out here soon, get some more videos rolling. I do have, there's a few pieces of art that I want to put them as the screen itself, how you see me here, but it would just be the picture, and then me explaining what this art is trying to convey, because art is, it's like it's from a place greater than this place. Art doesn't come from this world, not true art. Like seriously, there's no one who could consciously, like, what's that word? No one using the lower mind can do the things that mankind has done. The Statue of David, the Eiffel Tower, Leaning Tower of Pisa, what's that called? Angkor Wat. There's dozens and dozens and dozens of examples of things that normies, the fearful, the fear-minded people, they could never do it. Only someone who authentically loves could do those things. There's a statue of David, and where is it? There's a statue of David, and it's carved out of marble, and it has a muscle flexed in his arm, and it's literally only possible if you flex the pinky just the right way. But that ain't no one using their conscious mind to do that. That's pure creativity coming from a place of love. It's something you don't think about. You don't process it intellectually. You just feel it spiritually, and you go. All the Renaissance painters during the Enlightenment, this thing that I just broke down and told you here, that's how they did it. I don't know. I don't want to get too carried away here, so I guess we'll wrap this up. I love you guys. I hope I can see you again soon. Hopefully YouTube takes the cap off. In case you didn't know, YouTube caps me every 100. Okay, so when I got to 100 subscribers, every time I would go over, they would take a few away, and then go over and take a few away, and then eventually they let me go on. And so we're at 500. I've been to 500 3 times already, but YouTube takes them away. I don't mind. That's not what, I'm not here to fucking play a numbers game. But it's pretty cool. You know, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel like you're putting your time into something that's worth doing. But that's enough for now, guys. I love you all. I'll see you soon.